Hello and welcome back to another new edition of Windows on Current Affairs, and today we continue to talk about the government continuous efforts to empower and enforce youth and women. Of course, this is one of the first and foremost plans for the country and the Egyptian administration, and in the sense of empowering youth and women, we have many plans. Of course, we have programs that would enable them to become for leadership, a future leadership. We have the vision of 2030, we have the Sustainable Development Goals, and we have the PLP also. We have lots and lots of programs and seminars that are held by the government and by the Egyptian administration in person to be able to empower this sector of society. Today we're going to embark on this very important topic, and we're very delighted to be having with us our dear prominent guest, Mr. Mohamed Salah Abdul Masoud. He is a writer and a political analyst. Good evening, Mr. Mohamed.
Good evening, Dina.
How are you doing?
Fine.
First of all, of course, today's topic is very important as we are talking about one vital sector in society, which is youth and women. They are detached from each other. They are part and parcel. They cannot be detached. Of course, women is the source for everything. It is the core for society. If we empower women, we empower a full society, we empower a full nation, and you know the rest.
Yes.
And youth, they are the hope for the future. And we have seen how the Egyptian administration have been giving or stretching its hands to youth to be able to help them, to empower them, to listen to their suggestions, their aspirations and everything. So in this sense, of course, we know that as we are wrapping up 2022 almost, as we are speaking, this is September is almost off, and upcoming is a COP27, and there was just 1 day ago one important seminar or a conference that was held also, and that was led by youth, that talked about intellectual property and everything. I want you to assess to us the plans for the government to empower and enforce youth.
Let me say first that we are talking about a very crucial subject in this method today, and I would like to say that when we are talking about the youth, we are talking about the power or the future of the Egyptian people and the Egyptian society in general. When we are talking also about women, we are talking about the same, because the woman is responsible for bringing up the new generations and bringing them up and helping them to educate and to get inserted in a very high level of education. The mother learns her son. Every mother learns her son how to be good and how to be skillful and how to be ready and how to be a part from a successful society in general. And this will give us a very effective results in the long run or in the long way. This is for the first. The second, what we are having in Egypt because of empowering women and youth is not being done before. We are now giving the youth the chance to express himself, to express his idea. First of all, to give him the chance to build himself and to change his life. We give him the capabilities and we learn them how to use them. Before you get to be a leader in your society, you have to learn how to be a leader. You have to think more, and you have to learn what is leadership, what are the leadership skills.
You have to have awareness and be. You have to have a cultural background,
of course,
not only well educated.
Of course, because of this, we have different types of skills and knowledge that must be brought to our Egyptian youth in order to be prepared to lead Egypt and the Arab world in general. When we are talking about some knowledge such as sustainable development, we are talking about ideas such as climate change, how to fight climate change. When we are give him the reasons for refusing plastic products, we give him how to give a green, how to transform, or how to transform from traditional economy to green economy. By all of these subjects, we are preparing them technically in order to be eligible to lead in the future. This is for the technical side or the technical part. In the administrational part, we have a lot of ideas and skills that should be in our youth, like communication skills. You must have a very good communication skills or excellent communication skills. You have also to know how to communicate with each other. You have also to prepare yourself or how to present yourself in the front of others. So you should have the power, or should have presentation skills and excellent presentation skills in order to express yourself to others who don't know you. You have to be in touch with the world. You have to be in touch with the updates that are carried out now in all fields, politically, technically, socially. All kinds of updates you have to be learned in, or have to be linked to. Why all of this? To be able to lead your country in the future. You won't lead your country in the future without these actions or these skills and this knowledge. So we have a lot of ideas, and I have a lot of partners and a lot of stakeholders who are concentrating on this subject mainly. First of them, we have governmental installations such as NTA, or National Training Academy. For National Training Academy, we are preparing youth in order to learn how to learn policy, how to learn economy, how to lead from social perspective, how to lead them from other worlds. We have also programs in Nasser Academy. Nasser Academy is also going on to working on the basics and the sides of national security in the youth. They are learning them what is the meaning of national security and how to achieve national security for the Egyptians in general, not only for the youth, but for all the Egyptians. So they have many courses in this academy, and it plays a very important role and a great role in providing our youth with the needed courses and the needed ideas in this idea. For the women, I'd like to say that in every constitutional constitutional identity, we have a great representation for the women in it. When we're talking now about the parliament, we have a lot of women in the parliament now who are practicing on gaining or supporting women in their life. They are defending the rights of the woman in order to have its own dignity, to have its material rights. When they are trying to get her, how to prepare her to enter the work market. They are preparing her to be independent and to work and active and to be careful from its family and from its children. So we have a lot of ideas like this. But at the same time, as we have said for the youth, we will say the same words for the women. As we have the youth in Egypt is men and women. So they also targeted in the courses and in the NTA and the Nasser Academy, and all of these institutions are preparing both youth and women in order to build a successful future for the Egyptian.
Right. Of course, these are all very, collective and collaborative efforts, thanks to the government, in addition to the NTA, the help of civil society that are collaborating together to be able to empower youth and, of course, women. But also coping with the goals, or trying to execute and to be able to give full concern to the goals of the sustainable development for the Vision 2030 and 2063. There is a very important event that is expected to happen in November, inshallah, in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, that is the COP27. And as we all know, that Egypt is taking its full force preparedness to be able to bring to the world this event that could be equivalent to the former one, and also that would be a continuation of Glasgow. So Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry, the President designate of the 27th UN Conference on Climate Change, he is in New York, and also he is participating in a high-level meeting with the Group of 77 and China G77 under a title, The Loss and the Damage, the New and Additional Financing. Tell us more about this very important event, and how is it going to add to the upcoming conference?
Well, let's say that we have 44 days left to start this very important, highly important and very important summit, which is COP27 in Egypt. I would like to say, first of all, what's COP27? It's a high level of conferences that are a summit that gathering the leaders of all the nations around the world in order to discuss climate change and how to reach an agreement or reach a compromise with each others in order to affect or to stop this bad phenomena. So this conference is under supervision of the United Nations, and it gives a lot of importance in the last 5 or 6 years, because we have witnessed a lot of accidents that say that the climate is changing already. We are not talking now about what will happen in the future. No, now we are in a world with already changed climate. So we have to stop or to think with each others in order to reach an agreement, and this is what happened in Paris conference in 2015, and what happened in COP26 in Glasgow. But we have a lot of differences and a lot of problems in the situation in general, and about the collaboration, and about the commitments for the developing countries and developed countries. So we have to solve all of these problems in order to face this challenge. Climate change is not an ordinary challenge. It's a big challenge, and let me say that we are not talking about a problem or a challenge that will help or will affect in the economy only, but it will affect the life itself. That means if we don't work in effectively and in collaborative way, we would lose the whole continent. Do you know that we have a complete nations and a complete islands and complete cities in the world are now waiting the time of the climate change to eliminate them from the map and from the earth. It's a real agreed. So this important and very important conference will help us to end up first of all the differences between the developing and developed countries, and how to stay with each other in contact, how to ensure our relations, and how to be all of us connected from all of us from the perspective of sustainability, and how to establish what we can call early warning techniques in all the nations, early warning techniques in all the nations to stop these actions, or to stop these phenomena, and help and save our life and for the new generations also.
Of course. As we all know, that the UN Climate Change High-Level Champion for Egypt, Dr. Mohamed, have urged pushing forward the climate action agenda, as we all know, which is very important, and in particular in Africa. He attempted to increase the climate relation projects and investment, and the concept of green economy, and gas emissions, lower gas emissions, and everything, and even the awareness of these plans. How do you read this?
I read this as an Africa, as a continent, and for the Egyptians, for Egypt as a leader of the continent in the same time. we are not responsible for this action. We are not responsible for this challenge or this threat. We are not using so much gas or so much oil, or we have a high level of industrial action or industrial activities. We are not have all of this. So why we got to be punished twice? First, because you let me outside the industrial activities, and you only give me the products and the goods only to sell it, to buy it to me, and I sell it only. And the second, I will pay how to pay on this phenomena or on this subject. I'm not responsible for. The carbon emission in all Africa is 3% from all over the world, I think, as we said. And in the Middle East, it will have a raised percentage. It will have to 6% around the world. So we are not responsible for this. Who is responsible for this phenomena and who is responsible for this subject is the great or the superpowers of the world. We have to ask United States of America, we have to ask China, we have to ask European Union and Russia. They are the great four who give 70% of the carbon emission in the world. So they got the benefits, and they got the benefits from the industrial activities that they done and what they did in their lives, and achieved a high standard of life for their people. At the same time, they have to pay the fees for the Africans and for Africa to help it first to live in an acceptable level of living, or acceptable way of living, and to end up this challenge and to fight it all with us. Do you know that we have a amount of money which is $10 billion, $100 billion, that was targeted in Paris 2015. Till now, none of these countries paid only $1 for the systems and for the countries around the world. We already have a knowledge, we already have a systems, we already have all of the things, but we are waiting for financing, we are waiting for funding. Who will fund all of these projects? Transformation from traditional to green economy is not an easy action that could be taken by one or two countries. It has to be funded, fully funded. It has to be supported. It has to be illustrated, and have to be shared among all the human beings in the earth. So it's not these actions or this plan is not easy for the Africa. Especially we are talking about a poor continent. We don't have enough money to do this transformation. We don't have assets. We don't have all of this. So who did this first was these four partners, and they must pay for what they are doing from.
Of course, because they are industrial countries.
From the international revolutions. And let me express something which is new. If you go back to old writings and to old novels and even poems or drama, you will see or will notice that they are all they were describing what's going now, and they first suffered from pollution, suffered from the massive industrial activities. They have suffered from eliminating greens and eliminating agricultural land. They have suffered from all of these actions from the 17th century, not from now. Now we are living in the results on what they have mentioned on their writings. And we have to keep this in mind, that we are not talking on a new subject. It has started from the early beginning of industrial revolution in Britain, and now we are only having the results or the outcomes of this industrial revolution.
Like you said a very important phrase, that it would take the whole world to be able to collaborate on decisions and solutions to sort out very important issues that is threatening our climate change and our environment in general, because they are part and parcel of with each other. All the issues that are threatening our environment and is causing climate change is caused by the industrial world, by the biggest powers, by the economic powers. We're faced by economic greed, but we're faced by deforestation. We're faced by replacement of the forests and burning of the trees, the deforestation. We're faced by illegal hunting of the endangered species. We're faced by using toxic waste and throw it in the oceans or in the third world countries. I mean, so many crimes that are committed by the West world and by some rich countries that is causing a lot of hazards that in the end resulted in destroying the whole world and the globe. So someone has to bring all those forces together and talk some sense in their minds and explain to them that their practices is not only, threatening some specific countries, but it is threatening them also in the very near future. How do you relate to this concept?
Well, I would like to say that we have many challenges that we have to deal with at this summit, and most of them is the war between Russia and Ukraine. One aspect of the aspects or the reasons of this war was the transformation from traditional power to green power, and we have a lot of problems from the Russian Federation from these actions, and they are suffering from losing their main income from which is coming from oil and from gas. So we have to reach a compromise with these type of countries. We have to reach compromise with China, as it's the factory of the world. So they have also a lot of problems with the green economy. We have to transform or how to do this transformation from traditional to green. You have to sit with this superpower in order to reach a compromise. This is the problem. This transformation is not good for many other countries, and economically they will have a bad effect on their economies, and socially will have a very bad effect on their people. So they have the right to be aware from this. First of all, if we go back to COP27, we will find that we have four main goals for this summit this year. The first is the commitment, is how to reach an agreement from all the world. And the second goal, which is adaptation, how to build a new systems, or how to build a new systems, what's called environmental systems, in order to monitor the change. And you have to be monitoring what's going on your ocean, on the sea, on the rivers, on the lakes. All of these ideas should be into monitoring all the time, in order to find the change and start to move against it and start to solve the problem. If we had and we have what's called forest fires, what happened in Russia and what happened in Turkey and what happened in Europe and what happened in South America, if we had a kind of fires of forest fires in your country, how you will deal with, will you interact with this action? This is what we are going to do in adaptation, how to adapt with the new system and with the new principles that we'll do together, or we go to them together. And the third part is collaboration, how to work in general and how to work hand in hand. And the last and the most important goal from this summit this year, which is finance, and how to ask the developing countries, the developed countries, to give the amount of money that have been targeted in Paris 2015, in order to start implementing the plans. The plans is ready, and the targets are ready. All of these ideas are ready, but we need funding. You have to fund these programs in order to make it to make it happen, in order to have the outcomes from this. So I think we have these 4 key goals for COP27 this year, and they are very important for the world, not only for the Egyptian one.
Right, that's very much true. And also, according to experts, Africa remains the continent that is most vulnerable to climate change, the climate change effects, in the sense of that it is, despite its low contribution to greenhouse gas emissions and everything, Africa produces no more than 3% of the world's total.
Yes, and this is unfair. It's not fair for Africa to pay to pay the price twice and be punished twice for the same action. You, as a developed country and developed societies, you got all what you need. You got industrial activities. You got a high level for your community and for your people. You got the highest level of the highest standard of level.
You've got nuclear stations.
Yeah, yes. So you got,
Yes.
You get it. So when we are facing the causes or the outcome of these actions, you have to be responsible for what you have done in the history, in the past. So you have to be responsible for that and pay the price. You have to pay the price of your luxury, of your successful, of your society. If you don't do this, the African want to change because they don't have the needed resources. They don't have the needed resources to do this transformation, or they are not refusing this transformation, but they can't. So they must be helped by the superpowers, and they must be helped by the United Nations in order to do it in a correct way and in an effective way at the same time.
Not only be helped, but also work on a win-win situation and as partners, in the sense of taking the decisions, because the superpowers might be a little bit biased because they are the ones who have the huge share in committing the violations when it comes to violations like nuclear violations, throwing garbage, the leftover in the ocean, like threatening the endangered species. You have a country, for example, like China, it is threatening the endangered species. It's consuming illegal species in its food industry. You take a look at the Wuhan,
COVID-19.
Yes, that caused the COVID-19, and you have other very, very sick violations by China, I'm sorry to say, and other countries, not only China.
Yes.
So you see, you have the fires in the United States, in California, and you have in New Zealand and in Scotland, and in other countries, in Australia, the forest fires and everything. You have many issues that were caused by human practices, wrong human practices in the Western world. So someone have to bring those forces together. But let us talk about first the soft power. Like, for example, affecting, first of all, which is very, very efficient, the awareness campaigns. And it has to be unified worldwide, not only in a certain country.
Not only, if we talk about Egypt, exactly, we won't talk about soft power only. We are talking about 30% of our projects now in 2022 is a green project. We have 30% from your projects is
of course
is a green project.
And even declaring some governorates as green cities, like in the city of Sharm el Sheikh.
What will happen in Sharm el Sheikh? Sharm el Sheikh
Right.
is planning to
it's a green, totally green area.
Accurately to declare that Sharm el Sheikh is totally moved from traditional to green economy, from transformation, from wasting product, plastic free and not having any plastic products in Sharm el-Sheikh, for all of this. And let me say that Sharm el-Sheikh was a symbol of peace in the few years, in the few decades, for the few decades ago. Now Sharm el-Sheikh might be a symbol for sustainability, and it must be a symbol of this transformation. And it's a very metaphoric action to have this action or this important summit in a city like Sharm el-Sheikh, with its history in peace and with the history in the international level, at the same time having Sharm el-Sheikh in a green economy or in a green way. So it's very important for Egypt, or we have already started a lot of projects such as what's the national project for canal lining to save water, and to have also modern techniques for irrigation. We have found up a national council for sustainability and for climate change. All of this action are taken by Egyptian government because they are believing on this. We are believing on this in sustainability. We are dealing with the subject with responsibility, with total responsibility. We have a lot of buses in the ways now, which is going on with electricity. We have a lot of the taxis, and the cars are transformed from gas and oil to natural gas. So we have to say that Egypt has a wide steps on the road to sustainability already.
Right. My final question to you is that, of course, we have just counted or reviewed together the government's efforts. What is the role of citizens? Like I said, there should be some type of an awareness campaign that could be provided for the citizens so that they could share, because without the collaboration of citizens, everything will fall apart. Because the government on one hand is working tooth and nail to effect a green economy, I mean to be able to implicate all the very healthy rules and the right rules, not to violate the rights of environment and to care for the climate and all this, but at the same time, and also preserve the economic, the biological balance and the ecosystem and everything. And then we have a very ignorant, very unaware citizen who is unable to understand this.
Yes, and this is the main problem.
Not only in Egypt. Not only in Egypt.
No.
It's everywhere, even in the United States.
But in Egypt, but in others, or the developed countries, well, let us say that they have panels. They have a direct panels between the government and the people, and they have a panel between experts and the people, and they have a non-governmental organization. A lot of non-governmental organization in the developed countries are carrying are doing its role in a very correct way. I would like to say that what's governing Germany today is the Green Party, which is totally concerned with these issues. So they have a wide range of ideas and a wide range of challenges they can do, and let us say that they have systems. Systems like educational system. When you have a child in the school, and they have to be learned that plastic is not good, have to
and recycling.
Recycling is important. You have to give him that not to do bad actions or bad uses of water, and you have to save water as he can.
Rationalizing the consumption of water.
Yes, everything related to the society must start from the school. The school is the factory of the society. The mother is the factory of the family, but the school is the factory of the society. When we're talking about the schools, if you wanna have a sufficient or effective system, you have to start with the school. because punishments is not enough, because stressing and monitoring is not enough. We have to start, or we have to find that the belief of every single person in Egypt is the right way to affect on these ideas and to make it happen, which you have to start it from schools, then from universities. We are in a great need for courses that are training the youth for using their rooftops as plants for planting or for agriculture. We have to use courses for recycling. We have courses for irrigation, modern irrigation techniques. All of these courses should be done in Egypt in order to convey the message to the people. You have to convey this message to the
set
youth.
an example.
Yes, this is the main example. Yes.
On that excellent note, we're going to be ending it here. Of course, Mr. Salah Abdel Maqsood, would like to thank you so much. You are a writer, you are a political and economic analyst. Thank you so much
Many thanks for
coming
your kind.
our pleasure. And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of Windows on Current Affairs. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you again next week, that's a goodbye.